Wellbeing is one of those words that we're quite familiar with nowadays. We hear it quite a lot. And if we're not careful, it can just kind of get hidden in a lot of noise. Sometimes we might be really good at thinking about other people's well-being, but not always so good at thinking about our own. And especially if you're starting up, if you've got an idea that you're trying to birth and bring to life, then it can be all encompassing. And sometimes we're just so committed and dedicated to the thing that we're doing that we can forget to look after ourselves. And often when we think about the word well-being, we rightfully connect it with our mental health, and that is so important. But it's also helpful to think beyond just our mental health and think about what's happening physically, what's happening in your body, how's your body responding to what's going on at the moment. What's it look like in relationships? What's the well-being of your relationships? And how about your spiritual, sort of deeper well-being? How's that going for you? Now, I'm a huge fan of the NHS 5 steps to well-being, primarily because I just love the research that went into that coming to life, that real sense of people exploring and listening to lots of different experts across the world, which helped them to come up with these 5 steps to mental well-being. And those are to connect, to be active, to learn new things, give to others, and be mindful. So the question is, how are you doing in those areas? And we have at the Maven Club, we've got the Wellbeing Wheels, which help you just to think about what's that looking like in your mind, in your body, in your relationships, and in your deeper being as well. And there's just a simple tool that you can use to keep an eye on it. Now, obviously, if you are struggling with your mental health, it's so important just to get help and to reach out and perhaps just have a conversation with your doctor or whoever it might be to make sure that you're really looking after that mental health. But in general, we need to be just considering our well-being and how we look after that. So I was first thinking about my physical well-being and how that would impact my mental well-being a few years ago when I decided to take up running. Now, the story behind that was that there were some friends and colleagues that I knew that were taking part in a marathon or a half marathon, depending which one they did. And I just remember thinking, oh, well, I'm not a runner, I can't do that, but I can encourage people. So I'll go and I'll spend my day cheering them on, be a friendly face at different parts of the course, so just keep cheering them on. And I went and I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed moving around and spotting them and being able to cheer them on and shout their name. But I also really enjoyed cheering on the strangers as well. The thing that I didn't really expect was at the end of the day, I realised that there were people who were uh, perhaps didn't look quite so healthy as I did. There were people who were older than me, and there were people who were clearly battling some horrid things like cancers and things like that. And I remember thinking to myself, how dare I dismiss myself from this ability to run? Like, all these people are doing it. Why have I decided I can't? And so the next morning, I got up super early in the dark, went to the local park, and thought, I'll just give it a little go when nobody can see me. And I did it, and it was okay. Didn't do very much, but I did it. And so I thought, well, I'll get into a routine. I'll do it every other day. So I started to do that and just started to find that I could just go a little bit further each day, each time. And then I was going away on business after a couple of weeks of doing this. And I thought, I don't really want this momentum to stop. So I decided just to pop some trainers and shorts and t-shirt in the bag. And when I got there, there didn't really seem to be anywhere I could run, but there was a big car park. So I got up super early in the dark again, didn't want to be seen, and ran around this car park a few times before the day started. And when I got back from being away, I thought to myself, why am I getting up so ridiculously early just so that people can't see me? The reality is that nobody cares. Nobody is really noticing anyway. So I started to go at a more sensible time, still early before work, but not quite as early as it had been. And then I was having a conversation with a friend who was a colleague, and we both shared that we just started to take this interest in running and had just started to experiment with it. So we decided to sign up for the park run. And that first Saturday, I'm glad that we did it together because I got so nervous before. I thought I'm a fraud. I'm going to get caught out. It's going to be horrid. They're all going to be looking at me going, "Why are you here?" But because we'd done it together, I did turn up on that Saturday, and I was utterly blown away by the environment. I couldn't believe how encouraging it was, how they were just cheering you on. It didn't really matter fat or thin, fast or slow. They just were cheering you on. And yeah, there were some great runners there, but there were also some people that were just, struggling to walk around. And I just love this environment that everybody was welcome. And so decided, yeah, let's do this. Let's do it again next week. And during that week, I thought to myself, I don't care how slow I am, but I just want to run the whole way, because that first time I hadn't managed to run the whole way. And went the next week and did manage to run the whole way. And from there, just got so excited about this weekly park run and being in this encouraging environment, and just got really into it. And so started to go every week, and it was a real time of like social connection as well. And then started to enter some like races as well. And I was never going to win these races, right? But it was amazing, the feeling of kind of crossing that finishing line and getting a medal and feeling like you're a champion. And so running became this really fun thing that, like I say, I was never going to be amazing at, but it didn't matter. I still felt like it was a really great thing to be part of. And then lockdown hit, and running was just like a lifesaver for me. And when you were allowed to do that thing where you could meet one other person outdoors for exercise, we would meet up and go for a run by the sea or on a long run, explore different places. And it was so helpful. It was so helpful for my mental health and well-being, particularly because I was going through some difficult things at the time, and my job was very trying, and we would just say we were running the crazy off. And so running, being active in that way, has been a huge part of my health and well-being. And as is connecting with people, I'm a real people person, so that was always something that was going to be a good thing for me, just to feel, yeah, to feel like I'm flourishing. The connection is really important. Giving to others, just love to do that. That helps me to flourish too. And then this idea of just being mindful, it's so easy to engage in negative thinking, and just sometimes stopping and noticing is a really helpful thing to do. And also that learning new skills. Now, I have this real sense of achieving. So even when I started running, I didn't use tech or anything, because I have this underlying, well, it's one of my strengths in Strength Finder, but like most of us, our strengths can also be a weakness. And so this need to achieve can be a bit too strong sometimes. So I chose not to use tech when I started running, because I didn't want to get too competitive, um, and then feel like I wasn't going to achieve that. But this sense of achievement is important to me. So learning new skills, it's really important for me that I don't just go for something that is all about success, but actually that is about enjoyment. And in more recent times, I've just rediscovered a love for cooking and baking, and that is a really helpful part of me, um, yeah, my well-being and feeling good and giving to others and connecting with people, but also to just balance this achiever gene in me as well, so I can achieve something simple, but also step away from the work environment and not get too obsessed. Um, so it's helpful for me to bake, and sometimes I'll even kind of go for middle of the day walks or middle of the day food prep, just so that I am looking after my well-being and keeping the balance. So, what about you? What does healthy well-being look like for you in all areas of your life? What could you do from those helpful 5 steps to Wellbeing that the NHS have created to help you connect, to be active, to learn something new, give to others, and be mindful. What are you doing to look after your well-being?